There you are, Ahmed, you snake. After all the adventures we've been through, all the traps, the scorpions, the jackals. But none of this means anything to you, does it? So hello and welcome everyone to Let's Play Tomb Raider 4 Remastered. This is 115 speaking, and I would very much like to welcome you to one of my favorite levels, the Valley of the Kings, which is sort of the penultimate Valley of the Kings chapter levels. In today's level, we are gonna get our hands on 16 goodies, raising our total to 77. We are also gonna land 12 kills, raising our total kills to 40. That is, we are gonna miss out on a single unkillable enemy, and that's gonna be Ahmed, who's gonna enter what seems to be an indestructible armor-plated truck. However, I'll explain a bit later on why I consider that truck an enemy. We're also gonna get our hands on 3 secrets, raising our total to 21, and there are gonna be no breakable objects or vessels to think about, so that's simple. Also, really no achievements or no progress to any achievements whatsoever outside of course, collecting all the goodies, which is what I'm going to show you, okay? Now, I did mention briefly at the end of Burial Chambers that I love these following 2 levels, but the remasters have really messed up. And that's only the case, and you're gonna care about it only if you care about the kill count. See, the thing is, if you've ever played the original Tomb Raider 2 or 3, you'll know that driving over enemies would mean they die, but your kill count does not increase. It was a known bug, finally fixed for the remastered version of Tomb Raider 2 and 3, which brought me no conceivable amount of joy. And it seems that this bug fix did not make it to Tomb Raider 4. See, the original Tomb Raider 4 didn't even have a kill count, so I didn't particularly worry about that. I would drive over all the enemies in my original LP and make my own kill count, right? And that worked fine. But now we're dealing with a kill count that, if you do that, is gonna keep misleading you from very early on in the game until the very end, and I cannot let that happen, guys. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the greatest care not to drive over a single enemy in this level, which honestly takes a lot of the fun away. And I'm gonna kill everyone and everything on foot, but I'm gonna show you that it's still possible to do so without using a medpack, okay? So let's just keep that in mind for today's and also the following level. Now, going back to the game and talking about killing, let's absolutely get our hands on normal shotgun ammunition, and I would very much like to introduce you to a new enemy. These assassins. Get comfortable knowing them. This is Von Croy's hired force. And essentially, we're gonna be seeing them a lot. Now, I absolutely adore the work put into them in the remaster. You can see so much detail when it comes to their cloth, their pouches. And by the way, despite the fact they're carrying an Uzi just like Lara can, a much bigger Uzi model, seemingly. This is the one from Tomb Raider 1 and 2 and 3. Interesting. They also have swords, and these are not for show. After these guys fire off a few bullets, they'll run out of ammo, and they'll switch to melee. So in that regard, they're very versatile, and they can move around a lot. However, all it takes is 2 shotgun shots, and they're down. Just like standard human enemies of the previous Tomb Raider entries, right? Now, which one do we pick? I'm gonna go for this one. By the way, in case you're thinking of moving around them, look at this. They will turn perfectly. It cannot be done. So the best defense against these guys, you know, just completely shredding your health, is use the cover system. And that's what I'm doing with the stone pillar over here. Okay, and when we kill this one, Ahmed should be on his way to the truck. Now, depending on which order you kill these guys, you might still have some leftover assassins alive, and they'll end up shredding you. Oh, that's actually what's happening right now. Great. But during the cutscene, you do not take damage at least, so that's good. See, this guy ran out of ammo, and now I get to show you. Wow, that was quite the dodge. And you're just gonna wait there? Really? You're not gonna take your sword out? Oh, there we go. See, and this is what they're gonna try and do now. Let's keep our distance. I would just like to see the detail on that sword, because it was sheathed before. Okay. There's some kind of mechanism almost, or symbol in the middle. Interesting. I guess it's supposed to be easily conceivable blade. Oh, look at that vicious assassin. You know what? Ah, screw it. We're gonna take another picture. Although I'm not sure I particularly like Lara's positioning in this image. Now, let's just give this one to the assassin altogether. Look at that vicious intent. And we might as well capture the hieroglyphics on the entrance. Yeah, I think this is gonna work out nicely. And that's it. All that malicious intent served no good whatsoever. So guys, yeah, I could have done a bit better job preserving our health, but we should be fine like this. Now, once you clear the battlefield, there are 7 items to think about. First of all, there should be 1 large med pack. The easiest way to remember this, honestly, is when you pick up the 1 large med pack, there should be 3 piles of Uzi clips. Oh, awesome, that's the 3rd. There should also be 2 small med packs. So let's get our hands on those. And I'm not sure where the 2nd small medpack will be, probably somewhere over here. But we should also get our hands on ignition keys. Now, I'm just trying to figure out where the ignition key might be. I think we killed 1 assassin up here. Ah, there it is. Yeah, this is where he died. And this way you have picked up all 7 goodies from the battlefield. Okay, just make sure to make this count before you leave the valley. Now, coming back to this receptacle over here, this marks the first secret of the level, where we are essentially gonna get all the shotgun ammunition we spent back, which is absolutely awesome. Furthermore, if you explore the one directly opposite of it, there's nothing inside, but you can use this as a point to jump up here and above the level entrance from the Tomb of Seth, or, well, strictly speaking, burial chambers. And this secret is way more generous. So first of all, a pile of shotgun shells. See, this is what I'm talking about. You're not really gonna run out of shotgun shells on normal difficulty. I think even if it be the exclusive ammo you're gonna use and no other weapon, it's just absolutely insane. We are at 90. I don't think we've ever been this high in any of the previous installments, okay? Now let's just make it down safely, slide across the hieroglyphics. And guys, something I want to talk about, although I guess I can't really talk about it now, is this truck is the 13th unkillable enemy. However, before it fully awakens and becomes an enemy, we first need to enter the Jeep over here, okay? And that's when a shadow will appear underneath it, which is really interesting. Actually, we can already see it now. But more importantly, it's gonna start moving, it's gonna start dropping grenades, and Lara will aim her guns at it should that happen. But there's gonna be a better situation for me to show you. First of all you need to do about the Jeep once you have the ignition keys is just press the action key and use them as any key item, and Lara will enter, and you're gonna take some mandatory damage from this grenade. Very unfortunate, but it's a good tutorial to what you're gonna expect, okay? So guys, I would like to just go over the controls. Don't worry, Ahmed in his truck is not really going anywhere. First of all, if you want to go back, what you need to do is press the sprint key, you do not need to hold it, and Lara will go back on reverse. If you want to go forward, you need to press the walk key. Again, you don't need to hold these, all it takes is just to press and you will toggle. Now, if you are facing rear, you can essentially hold the action key and even steer the car around, okay? This is what you can do, it's very intuitive, very easy, then you can press the walk key and essentially do the same thing much faster going forward. If you want to go for a full stop, press the jump key and hold it, and that's it. This is the handbrake. And honestly, that's really it as it pertains to Jeep. If you want to exit, it's not the roll key this time, you need to hold the handbrake, the jump key, and press left. Right will not work, only the left side. And unfortunately, when you do exit from the Jeep Thrills theme is over. See, the Jeep Thrills theme needs to be reserved just when you're in the Jeep, and since we'll be going away constantly, yeah, we're not gonna have a particularly great listening experience to this awesome track, but nevertheless, that's it. Now, you cannot, like I said, draw any flares, you cannot even look when inside the Jeep. It's as simple as it gets. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this control scheme. I see nothing wrong with the way the quad bike's handled in Tomb Raider 3. That was my favorite. So, but just wanted to cover the basics so you are not confused. By the way, you will see a couple of suspicious walls like this one, especially in the OG graphics. I'm gonna talk more about these when we reach the level end, because they did something really cool with this level. See, you can already see a cave over there, but I don't want to spoil the surprise yet. So, let's be real careful, because on top of the hill, there's Ahmed's truck over there just waiting to drop a grenade, and the best way to avoid it, let's trigger the truck to move away. Let's be real careful. Awesome. Now you do need Jeep to overcome this steep hill. On foot that will not work. But as you're driving up, immediately turn to the left. Awesome. And now, guys, we are ambushed by 2 assassins all the way there. If you were to linger over here, this assassin would remain on the top of the hill and fire at you with his Uzis and empty clips and deal a tons of damage, which is why I tried to turn the corner over here. Now that we are on foot, we're gonna take care of them, and you know what? This time, I think I'm gonna use Uzis for the very first time, because we're at quite the range. And you could have seen Lara automatically switched next to the viable target when she sort of dealt enough damage to bring the assassin down. So that's a small improvement from Tomb Raider 4 onwards, which is cool. Okay, both threats taken care of, our kill count is steadily increasing. Let's go on reverse and immediately switch forward. So you can do this pretty damn quickly, you don't have to wait for a full stop or anything like that. Okay, be a bit careful. Oh, well, never mind. I was just about to say you can take some falling damage here if you're going too fast. Oh well. I should probably practice what I preach, huh? And in the distance, we should see Ahmed's truck. Okay, I think it's safe to pass now. The grenade has exploded. You do not want to get hit by one of these. Also, there is a bit of randomness involved in what sort of grenade Ahmed will drop. You will see red, green, and yellow ones. The problem is, red and green kind of behave the same, they're just a grenade, but the yellow ones are super grenades, and they will cluster off into smaller grenades and deal plethora of damage. Now for this guy, again, I prefer the Uzis given the distance. Wonderful. And there's something I want to show you. See, Ahmed is a fair player, and he will stop there. And this is the point I talked about, guys. Ahmed and his truck are the 13th unkillable enemy that we deal no damage to. Furthermore, and this is more easily visible by the original graphics, it has a shadow like every living enemy does, okay? Now for some reason he decides to chill and wait here. You can do actually something really fun. Let me show you that. Because you can gain on Ahmed and even completely block him off. I'm not sure how well I'll do this, but if you choose the high path, you should be able to do that with some practice. Okay, and there we go. Yeah. You can completely block Ahmed off, but honestly, this is a little bit dangerous. If he starts dropping those grenades, they can catch you off guard, so let's not approach him further. But in case you want to vent out your frustration on Ahmed and his truck, just like in the original, this works here as well. But I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna show you guys how to get your hands on the third and final secret of the level, okay? For that, we need to get on this side of the abyss, which is thankfully very easy to do on foot. Okay, was a bit concerned there. And now, lighting a flare, let's grab what is actually a ladder texture, which is awesome. And this way we can climb in. If you let Lara recover and grab it as a ladder, you'll trigger this unique animation that was actually introduced in Tomb Raider 5. In case you are playing the original version, what you'll need to do is release action and immediately repress it to make Lara switch from her ladder grabbing onto just a hands-only shimmying animation and climb in that way. So this is a small fix introduced via the remastered version. By the way, this ladder climbing animation cannot be triggered manually in Tomb Raider 4 Remastered like it could be in Tomb Raider 3 Remastered. Actually, I'm gonna explain it to you here on the side. So, now we are ladder grabbing, and what you could have done in Tomb Raider 3 Remastered is hold the crawl key and Lara would climb up into crawl. No longer works in Tomb Raider 4 Remastered, although I don't think there's gonna be a single situation where this would be in any shape or form useful. It was just an additional degree of freedom that came in useful 3 times over the course of Tomb Raider 3 core game and the Lost Artifact expansion, so yeah. It's a bit of a bummer. Anyway, Ahmed makes it off when you explode that secret, that's fine. We don't care about that. It's not like you really need to chase him, despite the level giving you that impression, so yeah. You just need to reach the level end with the Jeep. That's the only victory condition, so to speak. Now over here, you are running a risk of Ahmed being the one to kill another assassin, so we need to be quick on our feet. First of all, he drops a grenade. Let's try to, oopsie, not get too close. And there's an assassin over here. And be careful, that grenade that you see over there can absolutely kill the assassin before you will, okay? So let's be Let's just be real careful about that. It makes me a little bit nervous. Now, back to the truck. I would just like to make it to the very end. And then I'm gonna show you the entire level through a bit of a different lens, which I think is pretty damn cool. So onward we go, Lara. We have just one more assassin to really worry about. Now, it's very easy to fall here, so take it slow, no need to rush. Again, despite its best efforts to show it as such, this is not really a chase. And again, we're gonna be engaging from a certain distance, so I would like to bring the Uzis out, skirt the edge like this, and give Lara best angle to fire. Okay, well that took some doing. We essentially halved our Uzi ammo, but it was worth it just to have fun with the guns. And now let's bring the Jeep forward to the very end of the level. And then, like I said, I'm just gonna show you sort of an alternate path through the level. Should you ever get stuck somewhere or isolated or stranded, with your Jeep being left somewhere else completely. Because the original Core era devs actually thought about this, which I think is incredibly awesome. And there we go. If you make it over this hill, my friends, you have beaten the level. And apparently I can't dismount the Jeep unless we're perfectly even, which is a mildly annoying thing. Anyhow, this is where we're gonna leave it. And the reason you need Jeep is essentially this slope, which cannot be overcome by Lara on foot. Okay, that's the only reason you really need to bring the Jeep here. Should that not be the case, however, I'm gonna show you something really neat. First of all, I think I would... You know what? No. Let's do it like this first, since we cannot even get over the slippery slope. The entire level has caves in it, interconnected, so that you can easily transition through it and maneuver around completely on foot, not needing the Jeep through anything at all. This is phenomenal. So what I'd like to do is go back to the very beginning of the level and show you how you can traverse everything on foot. Now, you cannot really do this from the get-go. There are always certain milestones you need to reach with the Jeep before a given cave unlocks. Remember the suspicious wall I talked about earlier? That's one such milestone, okay? And let me show you that suspicious wall at the very beginning of the level, when the whole chase with Ahmed started, and now being fully uncovered because we overcame the slope over there. So guys, if you missed out on a secret or on a single pickup, you can absolutely make it back to the beginning, and from here on out, you don't need the Jeep at all, you only need it for the final slope. Let me show you how you can maneuver around the level. Another really cool thing, I think, is that if you make note of all these little caves, oh, my pop filter just dropped on my face. Wonderful, love when that happens. When you make note of all these little caves, keep them in mind for New Game Plus, because a couple of these actually hold those hidden med packs, okay? And again, they are ridiculously easy to miss. Saying that, when I'll be practicing for my New Game Plus run, there don't really exist any guides showing all the medpack locations for Tomb Raider 4 Remastered medpacks, so I'm kind of just gonna put in my best effort, scanning every single square of every single level, using photo mode as well as Lara, and telling you where everything I found is. And honestly, we'll kind of need to pool our collective knowledge together to figure out where all those new medpack placements are. There are, by the way, over 600 goodies in the New Game Plus version as a result. Way more than even the stat screen will show you, which is a bit weird. Now, you can either overcome the slope over there on foot, or you can actually already reach the level exit like this, which is a neat shortcut. And this is exactly the same thing I showed you in my original 2021 LP. However, something I failed to show you in that Let's Play is that should you instead decide to make it on the other side of this abyss on foot, and I'm not really even sure this is needed, but it is here, so I'm gonna show you, and there is a medpack on New Game Plus, is the cave over here. This will essentially enable you to overcome the slippery slope over here. Remember where we tried to dodge the grenade and kill a ninja real quick? So yeah, this is pretty awesome. Furthermore, the way you can overcome this cavern is kind of neat. You can think of it as the Colosseum Magnum's challenge secret, you know? Which is pretty awesome. Just a series of standing jumps in all sorts of directions, and you have climbed up a cave that leads to the top of this abyss. And from here on out, It's just one last sprint to the very end. Okay guys, so really wanted to show you everything this level has to offer, and again, you can see that it's fairly easy to beat it whilst landing all the kills, not driving over anyone and killing everyone on foot, and not use a med pack. It's gonna be way more difficult to do that on New Game Plus, but that's not here or there. So, what I would very much like to do before entering the Jeep is essentially show you the stats. So, let me just scroll through the ever-expanding inventory and show you the stats for the Valley of the Kings. So my friends, this was the penultimate level of the Valley of the Kings chapter. We got our hands on all 16 goodies, raising the total to 77. We have killed all 12 enemies, not Ahmed's truck, unfortunately, it is invincible, raising our total to 40. And we have found this level's all 3 secrets, raising our total to 21, and no breakables or achievements to think of. I hope you had fun. I'm gonna make a level end save here, and I would very much like to also use this opportunity before the chase continues to thank my absolutely amazing patrons. Blangoopel, Mick, Severin Drax, Enstickle, Katie Danger, Pooh2, and Basic Brian E. Thank you guys so much for being my loyal Winstons, and for helping us today to skip the giant waiting line to see the Valley of the Kings. Next, I would like to say big thanks to my caretaker Winstons, Michael McConkie, Karavetu, Renegade Durney, Blanket Fox, Jonathan Jones, and Dick DeB. Thank you guys so much for your support of the channel, and also for helping Lara through counseling and explaining to her that the only way to cope with betrayal is cold-blooded revenge. I would also like to give special thanks to my brave veteran Winstons, Andrea Paviglianiti, Alexander, and Richard Dearman. Thank you guys so much for your valiant support of the channel, and also for packing Ahmed's backpack with dots rather than real grenades, ensuring that we received almost no damage from these things. This way, we navigated across the Valley of the Kings safely. And finally, I would like to give one very special thanks to my one and only fine vintage Winston, Akira Foxmind. Thank you so much for your long and generous support of the channel. It's been over a year now since you've supported these videos, and it's very appreciated. And also, thank you for getting rid of all the tourists in the Valley of the Kings via moving the FMV Sandstorm away from Lara, Ahmed, the truck and the Jeep, and towards the crowds of families and kids looking forward to seeing the Valley of the Kings. Not only did you keep them safe, but we had the free range to drive over the entire valley, and just how free the range is, we'll especially see in the next level. And on a final note, I'd like to say thanks to my free Patreon members, as well as to every single one of you who made it towards the end of the video. Increasing the engagement for each video really does help increase the further visibility, which is already very difficult to achieve given that none of my videos are monetized. But thanks to you guys and my absolutely amazing patrons, we are able to keep all these videos and guides ad-free, which is truly wonderful. Now, despite today's episode being rather short, I do hope you nevertheless enjoyed a very thorough look at this brief level, and the fun is gonna continue in the next one, the so-called KV5, which by my understanding is a marking of a section in the actual Valley of the Kings. Things will gonna be way more difficult in that one, but also way more rewarding, as we'll finally get to unlock some achievements, since we didn't get to do that in today's and last week's level. Nevertheless guys, I'm gonna start cracking down so I can bring you the next video as soon as possible, and until then, I wish you all happy raiding.